Welcome to The Well Body with me, Samantha Hale. I am so excited to be back with you at Blomma Beauty for the second of our video installments, and this month is all about focusing on our mind. And with that, I'm going to be taking you through some heart-centered journaling prompts, and these are journal prompts that I use specifically pretty much on a daily basis to ensure that I'm being consciously proactive as opposed to defensively reactive. And what I mean by that is that I am therefore better equipped through creating my day, creating the day that I want. I am more equipped, I'm better equipped to deal with whatever situation I might face during that day. That makes me more proactive as opposed to reactive. I know that when I don't do this, if I miss a day, more than 2 or 3 days particularly, I really start to notice it in my mental health, in the sense that I do become much more reactive to whatever situations might arise that day. I find this particularly helpful, or I did find it particularly helpful when I was working in corporate beauty and spent most of my days in meetings. That was when it really helped me to kind of manifest the day that I wanted to have, that was much more positive, and meant that by the end of the day, I felt like I had accomplished something and I had that sense of achievement by the end of the day. So there's literally 3 questions that I will ask myself in the morning and 3 questions that I will ask myself in the evening. And I literally do this just in a really pretty notebook. I usually pick it up from somewhere like TK Maxx, Home Sense, because I do love a good notebook. I'm a sucker for beautiful stationery. So I want to go through those questions with you, and if you haven't ever journaled before, by all means, you could just do it on a piece of paper for this first attempt, but I definitely encourage you to treat yourself to a really beautiful notebook, because then it will become a daily habit and ritual that you'll really start to look forward to. So without further ado, let's get started. So in the morning, because it's all about really wanting to create the day that I want to have and manifest that more positive day, my 3 questions are all about gratitude, inspired action, and being kind to myself. So my first question is always, what am I most thankful for today? And usually it'll be something like cups of tea. I love a good cup of tea. It will be something like snuggles with my bulldogs in the evenings on the sofa whilst I'm relaxing. It will be, walks in the park. Things that I'm thankful for that usually aren't material. And I specifically do that and have done that to try to disconnect myself from anchoring my happiness to external material things, because I want to feel more happiness within. But that doesn't mean that if I've treated myself to something, I'm not going to be thankful for it, right? So what am I most thankful for today? And I will literally list everything down, and some days it will be maybe one big thing, or maybe just one thing, as in like a cup of tea, or oh my god, it's really beautifully sunny today, I'm just so happy that it's beautiful blue skies and the sun's out. And other days I will literally list everything from bulldog snuggles to cups of tea to sunny skies to my health, to my mental health, my physical health, to my family, my friends. Literally, I will list so much stuff until I'm getting to the point where I'm running out of a page. So there's really no kind of limit as to what you can be thankful for. My second question that I tend to ask myself is, what is the one thing that I can do today to show myself love? And this will vary every single day. It could be, today what I need actually is just to make sure that I have a bath. Rather than having a shower, have a bath, really just, lock the door, take that time to just unwind, put my phone away, in another room, and just really be in that moment and really indulge my senses during that bath time. So, make sure I have like some beautiful bath oil or bath cream, make sure I have a beautiful smelling candle burning as well, and just rearrange things in my bathroom so it looks really pretty, like maybe light some tea lights, maybe get some crystals out, and maybe get my favourite ferns and put them around the bath so that I'm kind of surrounded by things that make me happy. And of course, get a good book and get my favourite products out as well, especially the ones that I get from Blomma, which I love. The Terra Verde in particular, I really love that range right now. So just, really making sure that all of my senses are being stimulated and activated so that I'm not just lying in the bath scrolling mindlessly through Instagram or TikTok. Another day it could be to work out, it could be to make sure I get in 30 minutes of yoga. Recently, this last week in particular, I've really focused on making sure that I practice yoga and meditate daily, because although it's something that I love, just like everyone, no one is perfect, and I really let it slip, my practice, my personal practice. I really let it slip over the last sort of few months. So I made kind of a promise to myself last week that the only thing that I needed to do every day last week was to do yoga and meditation. Didn't matter how long or short it was, as long as I did it. And I managed to do 5 days out of 7. So my goal this week is to do 7 days. And I noticed the difference instantly. So it can be the simplest of things. What can I do today or each day to show myself love? And it really can be the simplest of things. Read a good book, eat some nourishing food. Maybe today, to show yourself love, it's the day that you treat yourself to a takeaway, or you know what, you are gonna watch Netflix and you are gonna binge on those Oreos that have been sat in your biscuit tin, and actually by the end of it you're not gonna feel guilty, you're just gonna be so happy because in that moment that's what's fulfilled your soul. And that's totally fine. And then my third and final question in the morning that I always ask myself is, what are my top 3 inspired actions today? Now, inspired action is something that will get us closer to our dreams, to our goals. Long-term goals, long-term dreams. So every day, those top 3 inspired actions really should be something that fills you with happiness, fulfills your heart, fulfills your soul, and helps you to get one step closer to fulfilling your hopes, your dreams, and your goals. Now, I'm a big believer in deleting things off my list that don't serve me. However, I also accept that there are things that have to be on my list that have to be done, even though they don't serve me, because we all have jobs to do, right? So what I then do is I make sure that I give myself 3 inspired actions that I know will make me really happy when I've achieved them. And then what I do is I give myself anywhere between 1 and 3 tasks that maybe don't quite serve me today, but I know I have to do them in order to meet a specific deadline or work goal, maybe even a personal goal. And I make sure that I set myself time to get them done. And I follow a technique called the Pomodoro Technique, where basically what you do is you set your timer for 20 minutes and you aim to get a task done in 20 minutes, and you give yourself, say, 5 to 10 minutes break. So no matter how long you tell yourself it's going to take you to complete a task, that is how long it takes you. So if you tell yourself it's going to take 20 minutes, or you tell yourself it's going to take you 2 hours, you're right in both instances. So I do that specifically with tasks that I know I'm like, oh, I really don't want to do this. I set my timer, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and I just plow through it and I get it done. And it really works for me every single time. And then what I do is I make sure I give myself that 10-minute break in between. And then once I've completed my 1 to 3 tasks that have to be done, then I give myself a break to grab a bite to eat, just kind of regroup, recalibrate, and then I give myself as much time as I want to complete my inspired actions, my top 3 inspired actions. And for me, usually my top 3 inspired actions are things that are very creative, that just make me happy and, again, fulfill my heart and soul. So that might be, your top 3 inspired actions could be do 30 minutes of yoga, do 5 to 10 minutes of meditation. It could be to give yourself 30 minutes to journal. It could be to cook your favourite meal, and you're going to give yourself an hour to really just indulge and enjoy the process of prepping and cooking and creating a beautiful meal that day. It could be doing some writing, doing something creative, maybe something with your hands, whatever. And I love to indulge myself and really pour all of my energy into it. So I therefore don't set my timer. I give myself all the time that I want until I get to the point where I'm like, I've done that now and I'm happy I've done it. And now it's time to finish and move on to the next one. And I don't give myself any more than 3 inspired actions every day, because you don't want a maximum, really. You don't want more than a maximum of 6 tasks or inspired actions to do each day, because you're probably not going to complete them. And then when you see that to-do list that's incomplete, which, let's face it, we all have that, right? You're going to feel like you haven't completed it, you haven't accomplished your goals for the day. And then that can bring about feelings of failure, self-doubt, low self-esteem. And why would we do that to ourselves? So maximum of top 3 inspired actions and a maximum of 3 tasks that absolutely need to be done. Then in the evening, I look back on the day that I've had and I ask myself again 3 key questions or variants of these 3 questions. So usually it will be questions like, what type of person do I aspire to be? And usually this will be, focused around personality traits and ways in which I want to be of service to others. So for me, I really want to be known and remembered for being kind, being positive and inspiring other people, and being honest, and having integrity. So to me, when I think about the type of person that I aspire to be, it usually centres around honesty, integrity and kindness. And that's usually those 3 things are the things that I value the most in other people. And so therefore, they're the main thing that I'm going to value in myself as well. My second question is always, what fears or self-limiting beliefs are holding me back from achieving my goals, my hopes and my dreams? We all have self-limiting beliefs, we all have fears, we've all suffered with imposter syndrome, and we know that this is egocentric. And there's nothing wrong with the ego. It's a great way to keep us safe from danger. But in modern life, there isn't really, for the vast majority of us, the same dangers that this ego would have helped to protect us from, like when we were cavemen kind of thing, right? These days, the way that the ego impacts on us is it's that voice in our head that tells us, you're not good enough. You're not as beautiful as that person. You're not as handsome as that person. You're not as successful as that person. You will never be as good as that person. You will never be good enough. And we really need to keep that ego in check. And we do that by really listening to our soul. It's really interesting. We give our ego so much headspace and we really give it so much airtime, but we don't give the same amount of energy, airtime, and headspace to our soul. So by writing down our fears, our self-limiting beliefs, it allows us to get really honest with ourselves, but also then, because we then know and we admit it, because we've written it down, we've put it out there, then we can start to think about how we can overcome it, because we've created that awareness around it. So then automatically, when we start to have those self-limiting doubts, beliefs, and we start to have those fears, we can then consciously shift our mindset over to a more positive way of thinking, and we can kind of shut that negativity down. And it doesn't happen overnight, it takes time. But by writing it down creates that conscious awareness so that we can, over time, overcome those self-limiting beliefs. Now, again, no one's perfect. So even the most confident amongst us are going to have those moments of, oh crap, can I do this? What if I fail? And that's fine. But again, it's about creating that awareness around that thought process, that feeling, so that we don't become controlled by it and we don't get anchored to it. We can actually then start to unpack it and think, right, where has this come from and why do I think this? And actually, what do I know to be true? And then the third and final question is, what did I learn today? Or what was today's lesson? Or what challenged me today that I can learn from? So it will be usually a variation of that question, kind of in, just as kind of 3 different examples. And every day there is something that we can learn. There is a lesson to be learned. There is a challenge or an obstacle that we've had to overcome. And there is a lesson from that. And I think it's really important to kind of take that moment, that time to reflect on the day and actually look at what that lesson is and how we can then apply what we've learned tomorrow. I hope that you find that helpful, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your evening. Take care, stay well.